goes, yeah, that's great. Okay, that's fine. And I go, oh, my heart sank. I'm like, oh my God, that's so bad. I lost the lines again. So he goes, yeah, we're going to talk to the agent and we'll see how it goes and maybe if we can make a deal and we'll let you know. And I thought, you know, whenever you hear a director say, we'll let you know, it usually means you never hear from him again. And you know, like a week later, I got the call from my agent that they wanted me to do the picture. So I was over the moon. I couldn't believe it. So it, you know, gave me the career I had. Mel Brooks. I grew up with Mel Brooks. As you can tell, I'm a big fan of comedy, and so I'd seen all of Mel Brooks' movies. I mean, I'd seen everything. 12 Chairs. Yes. Anyone seen 12 Chairs? You guys seen 12 Chairs? Don DeLuise. I asked Mel for Don DeLuise to be on a movie based on 12 Chairs. I love Don DeLuise so much. God bless him. And so I made that one demand. I said, you gotta put Don DeLuise in the movie. And but I'd seen Blazing Saddles, I'd seen Frankenstein. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just classic comedy. So he didn't make me read, thank goodness. But we had a lot of fun doing it, and you know, I helped cast Dave Chappelle, who obviously is just amazing. He came in red, and we were just blown away by this guy. We just thought, this man's a huge talent, and my gosh, we were lucky to have it. Yeah, it was great fun. So again, yeah, I was very blessed. Yeah, thank you for your question.
Thank you for doing it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
First of all, I cannot believe I'm talking to you right now. Oh my God. Okay, so I went shaking. Oh my God. Okay. So I love you, Princess Bride. First of all, of course. But you've done so many different roles. You've done, you know, the funny, but then you've also done some really dark roles as well.
Yeah.
As an actor, what are you the most proud of doing? Like, is it things like Princess Bride that's the comedy, or are they some of the darker roles that you did more acting?
I'm very proud of most of my work, actually. You know, some don't always turn out the way you hope. But for the most part, like I said, I've had a very blessed career. I got to work with some amazing directors. I got to work with, you know, Francis Ford Coppola. I mean, this guy was like a hero to me growing up. I would see him, obviously, Godfather, Apocalypse Now, Conversation, Rain People, everything. I mean, I just was blown away by this man. So I remember when I went to meet him on the Sony lot to talk about the part, I said to him, for you, Mr. Coppola, I work for a ham sandwich. And I was quoting Erich von Stroheim. And I thought he wouldn't get it. He went, oh, Erich von Stroheim. So we bonded very quickly over that. And he's, you know, I've had an incredible career, really. I mean, every role has been an education, like I mentioned earlier, you know. I mean, who'd have guessed this little kid from London, you know, would have this life, this blessed life that I had. I got to race Daytona. How crazy is that? I mean, come on. It's nuts. I had Dale Earnhardt teach me how to drive. I mean, you know, it's amazing. Yeah. Thank you. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. What's your
That's
name?
really good, okay. Oh, hi. I already know who you are, though. Can you say as you wish?
Again?
Yeah.
Sure. As you wish.
Okay, my real question is, how was it like working with Andre the Giant?
Ah, the great Andre. Well, I talk about him a lot in the book. So, again, I'm going to plug the book. Andre really was a gentle giant, you know. I mean, he was 7'4", 450 pounds, and he was like the 8th wonder of the world. When he walked into a room, he had to bow his head low to get in through the doorframe. And so, you know, he had a pretty rough life, really, even though he was a very successful wrestler and a big star in the wrestling circuit. you know, it was very hard for him because he couldn't sit down at a normal table, and no chairs really fit him. You know, he had to get 2 chairs put together. Beds were often uncomfortable. Toilets were obviously an issue. You know, but he was just the sweetest guy, and he, I'll never forget, he was a real foodie. You know, he grew up in France. He grew up in a little village in France, and he told me this great story about how he couldn't fit on the school bus because when he was about 12 years old, he was already 6'3" or something like that. And so it was a problem for him because he couldn't walk to school, and he couldn't fit on the bus. And he said, "Oh yeah, boss." He called everybody boss. I love that about him too. The idea of a 7'5" giant calling you boss. He said, "Yeah, boss, so this guy come one day, he made friend with my father and he drove me to school." I said, "Somebody drove you to school every day?" He goes, "Yeah, boss. He's the only guy who had a convertible in the village." And I said, "Really? Who was that?" He goes, "Oh, it's just some guy, a writer, his name was Samuel Beckett." Playwright Samuel Beckett. He drove him to school every day. So if you Google him, if you don't know who he is, he's an incredible playwright. And but Andre, he was the sweetest. He didn't care for the British food. By the way, Britain is not known for its culinary genius. And he took one look at the catering on our set. And he went, "No, no, boss, no." And on his day off, he drove his truck, a specially modified, you know, truck that he had, and he went over to France on the ferry, and he came back, and he filled the truck with crates of pâté and foie gras and cheese and lots of wine, which the producers had confiscated because I know. Well, he drank most of it, I guess. But he, you know, he was already, the crew loved him already, but after that, you know, he could do no wrong. You know, the crew were running around going, "More pâté?" So yeah, he was just a sweetheart. I miss him to this day. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to start by thanking you. It's partially your fault why I'm a total sword geek and involved in the Western martial arts community.
Oh, right on.
I wanted to ask you, your fight with Mandy is largely considered to be one of the greatest sword fights in cinema history. I wanted to ask you about your training for that. You know, how was all that?
Yes. Okay, so that's an interesting story, also in the book. I snuck that in there. Subtle, that's right, thank you. Subtle. I broke my toe making the film. Yeah, Andre couldn't walk around too much because he had a really bad back, and because in wrestling, I think they took it very seriously with him. People would just bash the back of his head with real metal chairs, and for real, you know. And so the poor guy was in a lot of pain. And we shot a lot of sequences up in the hills in Derbyshire, right? And so he couldn't walk up a hill like that, and so he wouldn't make it on time for the scene, you know. So they got him an ATV, an all-terrain vehicle. I don't know how they found one in England. They weren't popular back then. But they found one, and he loved it. He was like, "Oh, boss, I have one of these at home. These are great, boss, great." He was moving around. He was having fun. He was going up and down hills. You know, see a 450-pound guy going up and down the hills. You take notice of that. He comes zooming by me. He goes, "Boss, hey, check it out." And one day he pulled up to me. He goes, "Boss." I go, "What?" "You want to try it, don't you?" I go, "What?" He goes, "You want to, boss." I go, "Andre, I can't. You know, I don't know how to ride one of these." "Easy, boss. It's like a motorbike. Come on. You want to." So the first day, I politely declined, like, "Andre, that's fine." "Okay, boss." Took off again. Zoom. Next day, same thing. Pull up. "Hey, boss." "Hi, Andre." "You know you won." So like a twit, I went, oh, all right, fine. Yeah, come on, bud, go on. He gets up this thing, you know, immediately it suddenly comes up in the air.
Oh my God.
I sit on it, and his handler says to me, he's a British guy, he goes, oh, it's very easy, you know, it's a flat sheet of break, it's just like a motorbike, Bob's your uncle. So I put on this thing, switch it on, I start to go up the hill, and the crew are watching it bemused, like, what's he doing? And I tried to switch gears, and I went over a rock. The very moment that I switched gears, my toe got caught between the rock and the clutch, and it bent backwards. And it was a quick break. I just felt it break. I went like that. And I just felt it. Oh, great. We're 2 weeks into filming in Birmingham, and we haven't even got to the sword fighting scene yet. And I'm nervous as heck because I'm thinking, that's it, they're going to fire me for sure, right? I mean, here I am. It's like if you get an accident on a film set, if you get an accident while you're shooting, it's like workers' comp, like anywhere else when you work, right? And the insurance covers it. Take a break from shooting, when they take a break from work, and the insurance covers it, and so on, right? But if you break it doing something stupid, like riding around on Andre the Giant's all-terrain vehicle, then you're just a dumbass. And nobody really cares about insurance at all, or anything like that. You're just a dumbass. And so I was terrified, and I kept saying, the set nurse came over to me, the set medic, she takes off my boot, and she goes, yes, I'm afraid it's clean break it. I go, why? You gotta fix it. I mean, I gotta go back to work. She goes, can't really fix it. Can't put a cast on it or nothing. I go, what can you do? What can you do? I gotta go back to work. What can we do? She goes, I could probably make a little splint. I said, do it. So she pulls out, I don't know, some tongue depressor.
Oh my God.
Quickly makes a splint for me. And I'm telling everyone, don't tell Rob, it's all right, it's cool, don't worry, I'm fine.